It's almost time for the second major of the year, the destination, America's West Coast and beautiful San Francisco. But despite this area being one of the premier tourist destinations in the States, the world's top golfers won't have much chance to enjoy the view. The Olympic Club has been described as the toughest test in golf, with small greens and tight fairways, and the opening 6 holes are particularly brutal. It's the 5th time the course has hosted the event, so who will be the man to triumph in this year's US Open? Could it be one of the many European challengers? Will one of the American stars triumph? Or will a new name grace the famous old trophy?
I think, the usual names that you're going to hear. Luke Donald, I think, is one. Rory, I think, is going to get his game back in time. I think a guy like Graham McDowell could have a good week there. But the venue has lent itself to names we're not thinking about. In the previous times the Open's been an Olympic, it's been guys who weren't the name guys. For whatever reason, the Olympic Club has produced the unheralded champions.
Which all makes for an exciting week, and one of the challengers who'd love to win is a man who's excelled over the past few years but never quite managed a major win. World number 3, Lee Westwood.
I think it's probably the most extreme test of your game out of the 4 majors. The scoring always seems to be the highest there. It seems to put a bit more of a premium on hitting fairways more than the other majors. Although, they've toughened all the major championship venues up in recent years. But certainly the US Open seems to be the most extreme test, I'd say.
Consensus seems to be amongst the top players that this year will be a much harder setup than when Rory McIlroy won at Congressional last year with an incredible 16 under par total.
I think it's going to be considerably harder than Congressional was. And whether that's on purpose or not, I think that'll be the case. There have been several examples in the past where low scoring has been followed by a really tough test. The most recent example would have been in 2003 when Jim Furyk won at Olympia Fields. He tied the US Open record. The next year was Shinnecock Hills, where it was almost a disaster how hard it was, especially on Sunday. So I don't know that we're going to see that, but I do think we're going to see a much tougher US Open venue.
At a US Open you're not going to have that many birdie opportunities, but that one it seemed like they're even less. The greens are very small and the fairways have a lot of camber on, and sometimes it's a reverse camber where you're trying to play a left to right dog leg and the fairway slopes right to left. Mentally you have to get your brain in gear and accept that sometimes bogey's a good score on some of the holes. You can play yourself out of contention at US Opens by making silly mistakes and making double bogeys and triple bogeys quite quickly.